e4. The most important target in the opening is to develop the pieces as fast as possible in order to occupy and control the center. White's first move fixes a pawn in the center and, as the first step in getting his pieces off the back rank, opens avenues for his queen and bishop. e5. Black equalizes the pressure in the center and releases two pieces for action. He must be content with this, as he cannot hope at this early stage to wrest the initiative away from White by force. Knight f3. It is good strategy to make developing moves that embody threats, as it cuts down the choice of reply. Against the passive 2, Knight c3, which develops a piece but attacks nothing, Black can choose from among such good responses as 2, Knight f6, 2, Knight c6, and 2, Bishop c5. Likewise, if White's second move is the quiet 2, Bishop c4, Black has three good options in 2, Knight f6, 2, Bishop c5, and 2 c6, with a view to an early d5. Knight c6. Black saves his e-pawn and develops a piece. The knight comes into play efficiently, its action is directed toward influencing the center. It defends the e5 pawn and attacks d4. Bishop c4. The bishop comes out, taking up a post where it commands a diagonal leading towards Black's king. It attacks a pawn which is peculiarly vulnerable as it is defended only by the king. This does not mean that White will capture the pawn in the next few moves, but the threat is always there. Many a short brilliancy owes its life to similar captures in which the bishop is sacrificed simply to draw the king out into the open where White's other pieces can get at him. Bishop c5. Black follows suit, bringing his bishop out to the most suitable square. In the opening, a bishop is best placed for attack when it controls a diagonal passing through the center or when it pins a hostile knight and renders it immobile. Defensively, the bishop would do a fine job at e7, where it radiates power in several directions, making an intrusion by an enemy piece difficult. c3. Supporting an advance of the d-pawn with a view to controlling the center. White postpones castling as his king is in no danger. Knight f6. A powerful counter to the threat, Black develops a piece and attacks a pawn. d4. White meets this by attacking a piece. E takes d4. Practically forced, since 5, Bishop d6, guarding the e-pawn is clumsy, since it blocks the d-pawn, while 5, Bishop b6, permits 6, d takes, e5, Knight takes, 4, 7, Bishop takes f7 check, King takes f7, 8, Queen d5 check, and White regains his piece, remaining a pawn ahead. White could also play 7, Queen d5, attacking the knight while threatening mate, instead of 7, Bishop takes f7 check. C takes d4. White's array of pawns looks impressive, but can the center be maintained? Bishop b4 check. Far superior to the timid 6, Bishop b6, after which Black is crushed somewhat like this, 7, d5, Knight b8, 8, e5, Knight g8, both knights return home ingloriously, 9, Castle kingside, Knight e7, 10, d6, Knight g6, 11, Knight g5, Castle kingside, Black's king is protected by 3 pawns and the knight, in 4 moves the knight and 1 pawn disappear, while the remaining 2 pawns are pinned and helpless, 12, Queen h5, threatening 13, Queen takes h7 checkmate, 12, h6. 13, Queen takes g6, again threatening mate, the white queen is of course taboo, 13, h takes g5, 14, Bishop takes g5, Queen e8, 15, Bishop f6, and White, exploiting 2 pins, forces mate within 2 moves. After the actual move, white must get his king out of check, and if possible save the threatened pawn. Knight c3. White prefers this, which offers a pawn, to 7, bishop d2, bishop takes d2 check, 8, knight b takes d2, when the e-pawn is protected. Castle kingside. Chess is not for timid souls, wrote Steinitz in a letter to Bachmann. Castling early in the game is generally sound strategy. In this case it is inappropriate, as white's center is formidable and must be destroyed. Black must play 7, knight takes, e4, accepting the offer of a pawn, and take his chances of surviving whatever attack might follow. It cannot be worse than this passive castling, which results in both his knights being evicted from their fine posts. Pillsbury gave as his rule, which he said was absolute and vital, castle because you want to or because you must, but not because you can. d5. Ordinarily, such moves are suspect, as d5 should be occupied by a piece, but here the pawn dislodges the knight and prevents black forever from freeing his game by d5. Knight e7. As good as there is. The shift to a5 is countered by 9, bishop d3, and the knight is stranded at the side of the board. e5. Now a shot at the other knight. Knight e4. Retreating to e8 does not look attractive, so black plays to exchange knights. Queen c2. Protects his own knight, which was twice attacked, and threatens the enemy's. Knight takes c3. Practically forced, as defending the knight by 10 f5 allows 11, d6 check, and the other knight falls. B takes c3. This recapture gains a tempo, black's bishop must lose a move retreating, while white's advantages multiply. Now he enjoys an open b-file for his rook and an extra diagonal for his dark-squared bishop. Bishop c5. Naturally, this offers better chances than moving to a5, the only other flight square. A comparison of the two sides' positions shows that white's is decidedly superior. He has more pieces in play, and they have far more mobility than black's. He also has better prospects of bringing more pieces into the battle. The recommended recipe now is to occupy black with threats, keep him on the run and give him no time to put up effective resistance. Knight g5. Ostensibly to scare black by the threat of mate, actually, the purpose is to induce a weakening advance of one of the king's retinue of pawns. If one of these pawns does move, black is done for. For example, 12, f5, 13, d6 check, wins a piece, or if 12, g6, then 13, knight e4, forces 13, bishop b6, when 14, bishop h6, drives the rook to e8, and 15, knight f6 check, wins the exchange. Knight g6. The only defense. The kingside pawns remain intact, but black has been compelled to place his pieces where white wants them. Under such circumstances the chances of black putting up a good fight are not too bright. White must avoid black's error of castling as a matter of routine development. Such a quiet course would give black time to play 13, d6, or 13, h6, beating the knight back. White must not give his opponent a moment to catch his breath. He must attack, attack, attack. h4. Threatening to move on to h5, dislodging the knight, and then mate with the queen. h6. What else is there? Black tries to drive off the menacing knight. He cannot do this by 13, f6, as 14, d6 check, king h8, 15, knight f7 check, wins the exchange. d6. A powerful stroke. Black's bishop is cut off from the defense, while a line is opened for white's bishop. White now threatens 15, queen takes g6, as the pinned f-pawn could not capture the queen. H takes g5. Black might as well take whatever material he can. H takes g5. The knight will not run away, the penalty being 16, queen h7 checkmate. Meanwhile, the rook has a lovely open file, and the queen still threatens to capture the knight. Rook e8. The king needs more room. Queen takes g6. Regaining the peace without relaxing the pressure. White threatens one mate in 1, and 2 mates in 2. Rook takes, e5, check. Black consoles himself by equalizing the material and gives one despairing check before he yields. King f1. Simplest, as the mate threats are still on tap. There was little chance that white would blunder by 17, king d2, queen takes g5 check, 18, queen takes g5, rook takes g5, when all the good work has gone for naught. Black can avoid mate on the move by 17, queen e8, incidentally threatening mate himself. Only to fall into 18, queen h7 check, king f8, 19, queen h8 checkmate.